This evening we're talking with Senator Michael Doherty. My name is Nicole Sanders from SaveJersey.com. The first question is to you, what are your greatest legislative or personal accomplishments thus far?
Well, in the legislature, I am proud of a couple legislative accomplishments. One was a college credit transfer bill. Students were attending New Jersey's county colleges, and many of their credits were not being they were not getting credit for a lot of the courses they had actually taken when they were matriculating to four-year colleges in the state of New Jersey. The public institutions were not accepting their credits, so I was the prime sponsor of legislation to provide for the seamless transfer of credits from county colleges to our four-year colleges, and I think that makes a lot of sense. It's the taxpayers are subsidizing the county colleges and the four-year public colleges. Parents are paying tuition, students are paying tuition. They're spending a lot of time taking these courses, and they should get credit. There were instances where students were taking the same course with the same textbook twice, and that's just unacceptable. So we were able to get that changed, and that was a good accomplishment. I was also the prime sponsor of the legislation that was signed by Governor Christie to require public employees to contribute to their health benefits plan. Many of our public employees had no requirement to contribute a penny to their health benefits plan, but I was happy to work with the governor and with my colleagues in the Senate to get that passed and signed into law. So those are a couple legislative accomplishments I'm proud of. Of course, I'm proud of my time in the military. Graduated from West Point and serving in the military, and I think that prepared me well for any challenge I've seen in politics and in life.
Yes, I would say that definitely is a good personal accomplishment to have, to be in the military, and thank you for serving.
Thank you.
You're welcome. It is also well known that you are one of the leaders in the fight against red light cameras. Why do you feel they do more harm than good when it comes to the safety of drivers, and what needs to be done to get rid of them?
Well, I'm not a big fan of big government, and I view these red light cameras as intrusive government that is snooping over our shoulders as we go about our business. And a lot of the information that's come back, these red light cameras don't make intersections safer. The New Jersey Department of Transportation released a report in which there was no safety improvement. As a matter of fact, the severity of the accidents and the dollar damage caused by the accidents actually went up after the red light cameras were installed. This was at 25 intersections. And recently there was a police chief that just came out, and he said when we put the red light cameras in, the intersection actually became more dangerous, and that was right here in the state of New Jersey. And there's been a lot of studies that it actually doesn't make the intersection safer. There's websites, legions of websites that provide the studies, and really it's the towns looking to make money on the backs of people going about their business and driving. Most of the tickets are written when people are making right-hand turns on red lights, and the chances of getting in an accident on a right turn on red is de minimis. So it doesn't seem to be improving safety. It's just a way for towns to pick the pockets of drivers, and I don't like big government, so I'd like to see the program done away with. Right now, New Jersey's in a pilot program, 5-year pilot program, and at the end of the pilot program, the legislature is going to have to take affirmative action to continue the red light camera program in New Jersey. And I think there's been a lot of negative publicity about the impact of these red light cameras in New Jersey. So it's my hope that we keep beating this drum, and eventually, when it comes time to consider whether the program should be renewed in New Jersey, it will be a no-brainer to kill it and to not continue beyond the pilot program expiration date.
Okay. While I was looking over your voting history since you were elected as senator, I noticed you voted against bills a lot more than you voted for them. I actually counted them. And since November of 2009, you voted nay 43 times and yay only 7 times. Why is that?
Well, Nicole, with all due respect, I think the numbers you have are, I don't know where you got your numbers, but yeah, I do tend to vote no a lot, but certainly I voted on hundreds of bills since November of 2009. And we've had voting sessions where we vote on 50 bills in one day. So,
okay.
So your numbers are 50 total votes. That may have just been one voting session. I'm not exactly sure, but I would say I vote yes more than I vote no, because a lot of the bills are rather innocuous, and a lot of the bills are rather innocuous, so you end up voting yes for them. But I would say that I have probably one of the highest percentages of voting no out of members of the state senate, but I don't think the ratio's 43 no votes for every 7 yes votes. I don't know where you got those numbers exactly. You can look, if you go to the New Jersey State Legislative website, you can see what our votes are on various voting sessions. And I would say I vote yes more than no, but I probably have the highest percentage of no votes out of members of the legislature. I'll give you that, members of the state senate, but it's not 43 or 7. It's probably more like 70 yes, 30% no, because a lot of the bills are mom and apple pie. Like, for example, March is Irish Heritage Month. We're all passing a resolution to congratulate the Irish, so you vote yes for stuff like that. So that tends to get your percentages of yes votes up.
I think I got that from Voter Project Smart, so they might have just been talking.
Oh, what they may have done is pick certain votes, cherry pick certain votes, but if you go to the New Jersey Legislative website, you can see our votes. And as I recall, they have all the voting sessions and then all the bills listed, what the vote totals for and against were, and then you can break it out and see how people voted individually. So, but Project Vote Smart, I actually don't fill out the Project Vote Smart thing anymore. I haven't done it in probably 8 years.
Okay.
Because the way I see it, I have enough of a voting record for over a decade now. People know where I stand on the issues, and I don't like how Project Vote Smart, they have degrees of the most extreme on the left and most extreme on the right, and they keep going and going and going. And, if someone wants to check out my record, they can go ahead and look at my voting record. Americans for Prosperity, which is a group headed by Steve Lonigan, they actually track the voting records being pro-business, pro-taxpayer, and I've been the top pro-taxpayer, pro-business legislator based upon my voting record since Americans for Prosperity has been tracking votes. So you can go to their website, New Jersey chapter of Americans for Prosperity, and see what the votes that they think are important. And
Well, in regards to Project Vote Smart, the ones that I looked up that you voted no against, just so you know, I was happy you voted no against them, so that's why I had pointed it out. So I was congratulating you on the fact of doing so.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Project Vote Smart, they always send me some, every voting cycle they send me some nasty emails saying, oh, everybody's filled out their Project Vote Smart questionnaire. You're one of the few who hasn't, and we're going to tell everybody you're a bad guy. But if you look at the question, who the heck is Project Vote Smart, to have all these? I'm not going to play their game. I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. I have a voting record. People know my voting record. They can look it up. And why do I have to sit there and vote on all these fake issues that Project Vote Smart comes up with, and I'm just supposed to? I'm not a fan of that. I don't like hypothetical situations. I voted on enough bills, real bills, that people can get a sense of what I'm all about.
Okay. All right, so if your constituents wanted to reach out to you and ask you questions about your positions or how to volunteer with your campaign, who can they reach out to?
Well, they can call me directly. I'm listed in the phone book. My legislative office certainly is available to help people. Now, if it's political, they should contact me directly. And I'm pretty accessible via email or via telephone.
Okay. In a short statement, can you please advise why your constituents should vote for you and what you want to accomplish during your next term as a state senator?
Well, I think I've been pretty consistent what I've stood for. I'm a big supporter of the Constitution, which provides individuals with rights and which limits how much power the government's supposed to have. And I think the government should do less, not more. My voting record has been recognized by groups such as Americans for Prosperity, which is indicates that I have the best voting record of members of the Senate for pro-taxpayer, pro-business voting issues. I highly ranked by the National Rifle Association, highly ranked by I'm pro-life and always supported and endorsed by New Jersey Right to Life. I've always been supported and endorsed by the National Rifle Association. I believe in rugged individualism and people should be able to do things without government interference. And that's been my consistent message and what I've stood for. I would like to continue to work on more equitable distribution of school funding in the state of New Jersey. I call it my Fair School Funding Plan, where the suburban and rural towns would get a much larger percentage of the school aid. Right now we have about 20% of the kids receiving well over 60% of the money, and that leaves the other 80% of our students scrambling for the scraps that are left over, and that generally results in very high property taxes for our suburban and rural towns. So I think it needs to be more equitably distributed. The school fund is collected through a very progressive income tax, where the top 1% pay 37% of all state income taxes, and the bottom third of filers pay zero state income taxes, and all that money goes down to Trent. It's about $11 billion. And when the state government distributes it, they tend to send much more money to the urban areas and very little money to the suburban areas. So I'll give you an example. One of my towns is Bridgewater, and Bridgewater has a combined school district, Bridgewater-Raritan, about 50,000 people. That town, and you compare it to one of the Abbott districts, Asbury Park, people in Bridgewater send in 5 times as much per person in income tax. The folks in Asbury Park are sending in about $326. The folks in Bridgewater are sending in 5 times as much, which just off the top of my head, that should be about $1,600 every man, woman, and child. So they're sending in more through state income tax because they generally make more money, and so they pay more under the state income tax. They're sending in 5 times as much, and all that money goes down to Trent. And then when it comes to distributing it for school aid, the student in Bridgewater Raritan School District receives $1,000 for the entire year, and the student in Asbury Park receives $25,000 per student to educate that child. And folks in Bridgewater then have to make up the difference through local property taxes, and they're spending about $13,000 per kid, so they have to make up the $12,000 per kid in local property taxes. Meanwhile, Asbury Park's getting $25,000, and they're spending $26,000 per student. So they only have to make up $1,000 through local property taxes. That means the folks in Bridgewater have to reach into their pocket a lot more to support their local schools. And just because you live in Bridgewater doesn't mean you're not struggling, you're not a single-parent family, you're not retired, you're not disabled. For some reason, New Jersey treats you as if you're everybody in that town is rich, compared to Asbury, where everybody in that town is poor, but that's just not the case. You have people who are doing very well in Asbury, and you have people who are struggling in Bridgewater, but the state punishes those folks in Bridgewater and seems to let the folks in Asbury that are doing very well get over without paying their fair share. So I would like to see the pot of money for school aid distributed more equitably and my fair school funding plan after the money is collected progressively, where Bridgewater pays 5 times as much as everybody in Asbury does, that every student, regardless of where they live, would receive the same amount of money. That would be about $8,000 per student. And I think that you factor in economic differences, wealth differences. When you collect the income tax, there's no reason to do it again when you're distributing the money.
Yeah, I agree with you. Definitely with the, I guess you're talking about Abbott districts, correct?
Well, yeah, I mean, the Abbott district, some people call them Abbots, some say they're former Abbots, but yeah, certainly the Abbott districts, and just to give you an example of some of the abuses that occur out there, Hoboken, yeah, maybe 30, 40 years ago, Hoboken was struggling, but now Hoboken's doing very well. The per capita income in Hoboken is $69,000 per person. The mean family income in Hoboken is $101,000 per family in Hoboken. They are considered to be an Abbott district. They get 3- and 4-year preschool fully funded by the state taxpayers of the state of New Jersey. And you compare it to one of my towns, Hackettstown, the per capita income is $30,000 per person, less than half in Hoboken. They do not have 3- and 4-year preschool funded by the state of New Jersey. So Hoboken is taking advantage of the system, in my opinion. Their per capita income is twice as much, and then some over Hackettstown, yet they're still getting Abbott treatment. It just doesn't make any sense. Also, many of these urban towns monkey around with the property tax values for the town by giving away tax abatements. And just to give you an example, John Corzine, the former governor, the condominium that he lived in Hoboken, where you have to be a multimillionaire just to buy into the condo to get in there, that is a tax-abated property. It's not on the tax rolls. And the town actually collects payment in lieu of taxes, so the municipality still is collecting taxes essentially off the books. But that property value is not on their books when it comes to school aid. So because they're reporting lower real estate values, they get more state aid and school aid. So there's a lot of manipulation of the numbers reported to trend. And to date, these towns have gotten away with it. Why Hoboken is still an Abbott, I have no idea. It needs to be stopped immediately. You have Hackettstown, where the people make less than half per person, and Hoboken is the Abbott getting the 3- and 4-year preschool fully funded by state taxpayers. It's maddening. It needs to end, and that's what I want to do in my upcoming term, is to continue to advocate for fair school funding.